If you're looking for top games of 2021, keep looking. These are the games that I've played for the first time in 2021, so games which are probably only new to me, with the newest one on this list being from 2017. But I thought this would be a fun recap of my year, as well as shed some light on some older titles you might have missed.
Start writing these down.
Power up, complete.
I don't. Okay, listen. All right, new plan. Act natural. Nothing. Hello!
Oh, it's you.
You know her?
It's been a long time. How have you been? I've been really busy being dead. You know, after you murdered me.
You did what? Oh no! No! Oh no! Ah!
Okay, look, we both said a lot of things that you're going to regret. But I think we can put our differences behind us. For science, you monster. I will say, though, that since you went to all the trouble of waking me up, you must really, really love to test. I love it too. There's just one small thing we need to take care of first.
Starting off, and this is really going to set the tone for this video, but the first game I played in 2021 for the very first time, Portal. Both the original and Portal 2, and I'm mostly going to talk about both games together. Both games follow Chell, a human lab rat belonging to Aperture Science, forced to navigate puzzles under the observation of an AI in the name of scientific discovery. Gameplay revolves heavily around solving puzzles, armed only with a portal gun, a device which can create a single orange portal and a single blue portal, with which you must manipulate your surroundings and navigate the world with. This is a puzzle game that doesn't feel like a puzzle game. Gameplay encourages you to experiment and come up with new solutions, with each level having multiple ways of successfully completing. The game also makes me feel really smart whenever I do solve a puzzle. There are a few characters in this game, but every single one of them is so memorable. From the politely quiet yet sinister voice of GLaDOS to the frazzled and humorously ditzy Wheatley, I found myself hanging on every word of every cutscene. Part of it is not only the brilliant script, but amazing voice acting. Characters are a bit cartoonish in how exaggerated they act, but it makes the story really entertaining and engaging in my opinion. And how is it that a literal inanimate object can become the most lovable and iconic character of a series? Yes, I am talking about the companion cube, a cube nearly identical to all the other cubes in the game, but this one has cute pink hearts on it. Companion Cube is only around for one level in the first game, and the level is so brilliantly designed in a way that forces you to carry the Companion Cube with you, using it as a stepping stone or a shield, and by the end of the level, the Companion Cube no longer feels like an inanimate object, but a true companion, which makes it absolutely heartbreaking when in order to progress to the next level, you are forced to place Companion Cube in the incinerator, and during a short timer, leaving little room for hesitance or goodbyes. Like, how does the game manage to play with my feelings like this? Yet genuinely gets me to laugh at other points. At 15 years after its initial release, there's not much about this game that hasn't previously been spoiled. However, experiencing it firsthand was a thrill in its own. Iconic moments like "this is the part where he kills you," a scene where Wheatley has Chell cornered and announces his plans to kill her, accompanied by the chapter title and achievements unlocked all named "this is the part where he kills you."
Well, this is the part where he kills us.
Hello! This is the part where I kill you.
Honestly, still got me to laugh even though I knew it was something that happens in the game. Ultimately, what works about the Portal series is being generally simplistic but executed to perfection. This game is delightful with lots of replayability without losing interest, and I understand its hype. It might be one of the best games ever made.
So how much did you steal?
It's not how much you steal. It's what you steal.
And how you steal it. Looks like this primal stone thing that Basso wants is in the ceremony room at Northcrest Manor.
It's the Baron's mansion. Won't be easy.
Worried?
Yes, and so should you.
We'll be fine. I'll pick up your slack.
This job's getting more complicated by the second.
Thief follows Garrett, who, as the title implies, is a thief by trade and takes place in a Victorian age, steampunk-inspired setting. After losing his protege, Aaron, in a failed attempt at stealing the primordial stone from the Baron, Garrett wakes up a year later, suddenly with residual powers from the stone and haunted by visions of Aaron, unsure of what happened to her, and spends the course of the game searching for her while aiding in attempts to usurp the Baron's reign. Gameplay focuses on stealth, with combat being a last resort. I love the use of lighting in this game and how shadows become your friend. Most games with some sort of element of stealth claim that you are harder to detect in shadows, but I never felt that to be true until this game. There is an indicator on the screen which relays the light level of where you stand, glowing when you are standing in light and relaying that you are easily spottable. Thanks to this, I generally began associating shadows and darkness with safety. The environment can also be manipulated in order to create more or less light, such as dousing out torches, hitting or shooting switches, or even lighting fires. This is then later subverted once the enemies called the Freaks are introduced, who stick to the shadows and burn in light. Near the end of the game, I found it fun how, dependent on the level and what enemies were present, I had to alter my playing style, whether I needed to sneak through shadows or find ways of creating light. I like how items glint. It's a genius way of both signaling out to players where items are, but to do so in a way that is both subtle as well as almost puts you in the mind of a thief, always on the lookout for valuables. My favorite part of the game has to be the Noire asylum level. The game plays with reality here, hearing voices of people talking and seeing them appear in focus mode through walls, though once opening the doors there's no one actually there. The environment also changes in other ways while you continue to explore this level, leaving it with this very surreal, eerie feeling, or like you can't even trust your own senses. This is the second time you briefly spot a freak as it climbs down the elevator shaft, and at this point in the game I remember thinking, I'm not sure if these things are real or just in my head. At one point an invisible enemy called the Night Warden spawns, who will instantly kill you should he reach you. Only the clanging sound of his footsteps hint at his location, and you can't attack him, so all you can do is try to avoid him. Like, I remember my heart thundering in my chest at this part. This level is honestly so thrilling and unique in the way it's executed. I got the impression from this game that the world building was overall lacking. It feels like any generic, heavily inspired from Victorian age aesthetics kind of environment. Like, even the city is just called the city. I've only played the game though once, so it's possible I just didn't pick up on a lot of it. I also wanted more from Garrett's character story-wise. It's interesting because it feels like Aaron is actually the main character, yet the story is told through Garrett's eyes. The entire game revolves around not only trying to rescue her, but uncovering her past and ultimately leading to her character development. Meanwhile, not much is hinted at about Garrett's past or why he is the way he is. I feel like with first-person games, often the playable main character is left underdeveloped in order for the player to project their own feelings and motivations on the character. This is a device I don't particularly love for this title, because the main character isn't a customizable blank canvas in this game. He has a name and prior relationships to many of the characters already, and not to mention an early point of contention between Aaron and Garrett is an argument over whether or not they should should kill out of convenience or if they should non-lethally knock people out, though running the risk of them waking up and catching them later. This conversation shows Garrett's thoughts on the matter and can conflict with the player's choices moving forward in the game. And I came to understand why Erin cares so little for going out of her way to knock people out, especially after learning more about her character and how people have been overall pretty awful to her, so I think she just doesn't think very kindly about people and therefore doesn't value other people's lives when no one has really valued hers in return. But I don't exactly understand why Garrett feels the way he does. I just don't think the blank slate main character works in this game when there's a lot about Garrett that is already predetermined, yet there's these huge gaps in his story. Overall, I was left with the feeling that this wasn't a standalone game. After looking it up, I found out this is actually technically the 4th installment in the series, so it's possible more of what I felt was missing in this game was actually established in previous games. But also for a revival game, which this is considered, you think they would include more world building for players like me who are being introduced to the series through this game, even if it ends up being redundant to the previous installments. Despite that, this game was a lot of fun, and I know there's more secrets to uncover and more exploration for me to do, so I can definitely see myself replaying this in the near future.
Detective Phelps, LAPD, are you the owner?
That's right. Richard Coombs at your service. You looking to trade in a black and white, boys?
Mr. Coombs, we're investigating an auto theft. A man by the name of Cliff Harrison claims he bought the car here.
Well, some people would say that my cars are a steal. That's a joke, son.
Very amusing, Mr. Coombs.
I remember Harrison. It was a green two-tone Kaiser Frazer, if I remember rightly.
Do you have the bill of sale?
It's in my office. Walk this way. That's a joke too, son.
Phelps, you mind if I shoot this guy? He's getting on my nerves.
LA Noire places you in the 1940s, following Cole Phelps, an ex-war hero now rising through the ranks of the LAPD as a detective. Yet the further he rises, the harder it becomes for Phelps to do the right thing and the more obstacles in his way. In this game, you collect clues from crime scenes, interrogate witnesses and suspects, as well as perform an assortment of action scenes, such as car chases, fistfights, and shootouts. What I love most about this game is its cinematic quality. I actually didn't notice how many cutscenes this game has because cutscenes and gameplay are so seamlessly woven together. This game literally puts you in a police procedural drama TV show. Everything from the environment to the music cues, cutscenes, and playable scenes is reminiscent of period-appropriate shows such as Dragnet, which makes both the visual aesthetic as well as the general feeling of the game such a unique experience. I like the variation in levels. Not every level is a car chase or a shootout, and some important levels have really dramatic, unique action sequences that feel very movie-like, but also you get to play them. I like that if you fail an action scene enough times, the game gives you the option to skip it, something I didn't take advantage of a lot while playing, but when it comes to getting too frustrated that you're about to quit the game, it is nice to have that option, especially since the car chasing sequences was a steep learning curve for me. I don't play too many games with driving aspects. The clues and interrogation aspect of the game make it something I feel like I really have to pay attention to while I play, but I like that when it comes to interrogation sequences, you have to make connections between clues in order to succeed in the interrogation. You also have to pay attention to characters' expressions as well as mannerisms because characters will lie. And I think one of my favorite minor details here is that some characters are better liars than others. Some characters you really have to take your time while observing them because they might just look away for 1 second while otherwise having a very straight expression. And on the other end of the spectrum, there's...
What exactly did you see them take?
They was working on the tires. That's all that was took.
I have divisive feelings about the overabundant racism depicted in this game. On one hand, this is not only true to the period, that pretty much anyone who is not American is treated as an outsider, but it also reaffirms one of the general themes of the game, which is a deromanticization. You don't leave this game feeling like, I wish I lived in the 1940s in LA. As exampled through Cole Phelps' storyline alongside nearly every other important main character, people came to LA for the glamour and a chance at fulfilling their dreams, but LA either chews you up and spits you back out, or turns you into another corrupt monster as well. On the other hand, the racism and misogyny is so in your face in this game, I think it could be very alienating to players who are part of those minorities. This is the only game on this list I haven't yet finished, but I do already know how it ends, and I'm in the very last section of this game. I think incredibly enough, this game still feels groundbreaking now as it did 11 years ago when it first came out. However, the overall storyline is very linear, with one definite ending no matter how you decide to play the game, which makes me wonder if this is something I will want to replay, or if once I finish it, I'll be done with the game for good.
My name is Morgan Yu. Year is 2035. I'm aboard the Talos 1 research facility. What else?
Why are we making this video?
Right. Because my big brother is paranoid. Psychometric data is showing statistically significant variance in personality patterns between trial runs of the new neuromods. Whatever. I feel more like myself than ever. I mean, look at this. We did it, Alex. It's real.
Enjoy it while you can, because in a few minutes, it'll all be gone when we strip out the neuromods and reset.
I know, including my memory of it.
No way around it.
Prey takes us to a near future onto the space station Talos 1 orbiting Earth. When main character Morgan Yu wakes up from being stuck in a simulation, they discover Talos 1 has been overrun by Typhon, alien life forms that were kept in containment to be studied in order to develop technology harnessing alien powers for human capability. After finding a video from themselves instructing the current Morgan to blow up Talos 1 so the Typhon don't infest Earth, Morgan must fight against the Typhon as well as their brother Alex, who manipulates the station to impede their progression at every turn, in order to fulfill their old self's wish of destroying all evidence of alien life. Gameplay involves mostly killing Typhons and rogue robots, with an assortment of weapons, tools, and alien powers, though you do have the option of stealth should you choose. Compliant to the actual lore of the game, the powers you can upgrade yourself with directly mirror the powers the various types of Typhon exhibits. While the powers are super cool in their own, I just really appreciate that there's an actual explanation for why these specific powers. The Typhon are all really cool and unique and at times scary. Spider-like Typhons called mimics turn into mundane objects in order to hide in plain sight. These Typhons made me paranoid to the point where anytime I'd see two like objects next to each other, I'd have to hit one with a wrench just to make sure it wasn't a mimic. There's also a twitchy audio cue that plays when a mimic is in the room with you. Phantoms, which are once human turned Typhons, cause screens and electricity to go on the fritz when they are near. I also like the really sad and creepy muttering phantoms do, which reminds you that they were once humans. Phrases like, "this must be a dream," breaks my heart. My favorite level involves a telepath, a large Typhon which can control the minds of any humans around them, so your crewmates will be forced to attack you, all the while crying out for you to get away from them because they don't want to hurt you. Also, if you get too close to any mind-controlled humans, the Typhon will blow up their heads and they will die. So it made for this really exhilarating level where I was trying to non-lethally stop my mind-controlled crewmates without killing them, whether unintentionally if they got too close to me, until I finally defeated the telepath. Also, there's a lot of other cool Typhons too that I didn't mention. Every single crewmate has a first and last name in this game. Most of them are already dead by the start of the game, so you'll just find these named corpses around the station. For such a minor detail, it's really something that made Talos 1 feel like a real operation. Also, you can pull up a roster of every crew member and track them that way, which was a really fun side quest. The moment I exited the airlock for the first time and found myself floating in space was the moment I absolutely fell in love with this game. I am such a sucker for zero gravity levels, even though sometimes maneuvering in zero G was a pain in the ass. But being able to explore the outside of the station as well really grounded this game in the setting of space, as well as fortified this overall theme of isolation. You can see Earth from outside of Talos 1. You're far enough where no one is going to come to help you, but close enough to know that if things go wrong, the Typhon can make it to Earth. Also, later on in the game, when I opened up all airlocks from the inside, I'd occasionally opt to travel outside of the ship between levels because it would be quicker. So it really just aided in both the mobility and open world quality of the game. I also just love the jetpack as well, and how you can use it while also inside of the ship. I wouldn't say it makes the game easier to play, but is it more fun? Yes. Also, you can stop yourself from falling to death from great heights, so that's a perk. I also like that equipped in alien powers is both a choice as well as one that comes with consequences. Not only are you warned before you first decide to mod yourself that choosing alien powers will make you quote-unquote less human, but you are also warned that any Talos 1 security from that moment on will recognize you as a threat and attack you on sight. I loved having actual consequences for the choice because it makes it feel more weighted and meaningful. This is a game where the devil is in the details, and obviously so much love and attention went into this, and it really shows. I think as individual pieces, it isn't a unique story or a unique concept, but altogether it is a really unique experience. I have divisive feelings on the end of this game, or the post-credits epilogue more specifically. I might do a separate video on my thoughts on that at a later point, but despite not loving the ending, it doesn't ruin my overall enjoyment of this game, and I think it has been woefully overlooked. So that was my year in video games. Let me know if you have played any of these and what you thought of them, but also I'd love some recommendations to play this year of games that aren't necessarily brand new but might have been overlooked. That's my theme for this year, is going through the backlogs.